Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark, and joining me as always is my fearless co-host,
Mr. Matt SNYDER.
Mr. Matt SNYDER.
There's my lower third.
There it is, man. Whoa, that was different. Hey, Ty Larson, nice.
I'm Ty Larson.
There we go. Ty,
also,
thank you for joining us on the J.A.M.
Winner Circle.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Mr. Matt SNYDER.
Yeah.
What's new and exciting?
Man, well, next week.
Next week.
I believe it's next week, right? I don't know if I'm getting the dates wrong, but
you are not getting the dates wrong.
Chris Albin is coming in.
He is.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I freaking love that guy.
I love that guy too, but he's not coming in for one day.
It's 3, right?
He's not coming in for 2 days.
Yeah,
he's coming in for all 3 days.
3 days.
Yes.
And I'm really eager to see what's. I mean, he's got updates, of course, to the class that's in the essentials, but he's got a new class.
He's got a brand new class. Tell us about it. What do you know about this brand new class?
I just know it's advanced, and I know nothing more. I'm really eager to find out what's in it. It's Chris Albin.
It is Chris
Albin. Which means it's going to be intellectually stimulating.
It will.
It's going to be packed with meat.
Packed with meat, and yet broken down into bite-sized chunks.
Yes. Great way to put it.
Continue with the analogy.
Yes, I love it.
So here's the deal. The Advanced Creative Acquisitions is really going to take an in-depth look into how you can leverage unique and different ways of acquiring property. I know that sounds kind of like, duh, Jay, it's creative acquisitions. But sure. Chris is going to take a perspective on it where he's going to look at ways that you can ensure that everybody gets benefited in the transaction and that you can leverage. I want to, without going too far into it, I know part of it is a new way to use lease options. Another way is to look at how you can take on some of the current loan structure without having to refinance on a new home.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be awesome. But he's got
sweet.
2 full days of that.
I can't wait. Especially, I want to hear more about how he takes over using existing financing or the existing more right. Like, how do you do that? In other words, you're capturing, probably 3, maybe 4% interest rate versus the 6,
current
7, 8,
interest rate of the day.
Yeah.
So
9, 10, 11.
Yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. But for everybody who wants to join us on the Wednesday, because this is going to be a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday recording broadcast.
Right.
You have to be an Essentials holder to join us for that Wednesday broadcast because we're redoing the Creative Acquisitions class that is in the Essentials. For the Thursday and Friday, it is for AIT Extreme holders only.
So how do I get the link? How do I pipe in? How do I get there?
Well, you can do it one of a couple of different ways. If you are planning to join us in studio, we ask that you register through the calendar, and the events are on the calendar.
Okay.
If you are planning to watch online, then you do not need to register. Instead, just be available at that time. So we get started at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We typically go until about 5 p.m. Mountain Time on those 3 days. And then if you go under the Education tab in your back office and then click on Live Ed, that's where you'll see the broadcast there.
Okay. That's excellent. So I don't need to register if I'm not going to be in the office.
No, you do not need to register.
Sweet.
You're welcome to if you want to. Just, put your name on the list. Go, Chris.
And go, Chris. Just a reminder. So he said we start at 9. Yes. Sometimes there's there may be a delay. Just a slight delay. There's mic batteries that got to get put in or something. And it's I start getting text messages at 9:02, like, hey, I can't see it.
Use today as kind of a guide. We meant to get started a little bit earlier with the J.A.M. today, but we appreciate all of you for being able to join us now. And when it comes to live broadcast, there's always an opportunity for there to be a gremlin in the system.
Yes, there is.
So... But, we like bringing it to you guys live.
Yes, we do.
All right. What else is new and exciting?
My goodness. Well, May 1st.
May 1st.
That's a big one.
Not to be confused with May the 4th.
Yeah, May the 4th. I just see.
Be with you.
Yeah, every meme online on the 4th is May the 4th be with you. And then there's one on the 5th, right? Like there's one
there's Cinco de Mayo.
Well, I know, but there's something that comes after it. It's like
Return of the 5th or whatever.
That's what it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
I like Star Wars as much as the next guy, but
it's every May 4th and every May 5th. Yeah, I love it.
But here's the deal. On May 1st, so at the Renatus National Conference this year, Bob announced that there's an update coming to the Renatus education that we need everybody to be aware of.
And what's that update?
That update is that as of May 1st,
yes,
the only package inside of the Renatus Education Suite that will have complimentary lifetime access attached to it is the Extreme. But wait, there's more.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh. So here's what we've done. As of May 1st, every Extreme Plus package purchased will include 6 months of complimentary Renatus iOS access.
That's incredible.
Now, it is the first 6 months of the purchase. It's not, hey, I get to indicate at any point and start my 6 months.
Right.
It's when the order completes, your 6 months start. But included in that, but wait, there's more, is I shouldn't say complimentary. I should say unlimited coaching for the first 6 months as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Coaching's not cheap.
Coaching is not cheap.
So, and neither is Renatus iOS. That's a cost.
Yes.
So, okay. And there's still complimentary lifetime access with the Extreme Plus.
With the Extreme. Now, you can buy an Essentials package. You can buy an Advanced package. You'll have that year redemption period still. Mm-hmm. If you then purchase the Extreme, we will extend the lifetime of those packages to match the Extreme.
Oh, okay.
It is truly easier just out of the gate to buy the Epics combo, get all 3 at once.
Right on. Okay.
Get your complimentary lifetime access.
There you
get
go.
your 6 months of Renatus iOS. Get your 6 months of unlimited coaching, and go to town.
That is a lot of value.
We
keep giving stuff away, man.
I blame Bob.
He's that way, isn't he?
He is. We'll get to Bob
very
in just
generous.
a second.
Yes.
But here's one more caveat. We did not want to have anybody feel like they got left behind on this deal. So anybody who has purchased an Epics combo cash as of March 1st through May 1st, they can choose. They can choose whether they want their 12 months, 12 coaching sessions, just like they're entitled to with their purchase, or they can choose the 6 months of unlimited coaching and the 6 months of the Renatus iOS
That's
access.
A tough decision if you don't know, you don't know if you're going to use all that coaching. It's like, you got to really balance that out. Yeah. That's a tough one.
It's a phenomenal opportunity. And,
it is.
And really, it's designed to empower those people that are serious about getting into the Renatus education, because there is nothing better than having a coach hold your hand through the education, get you going for those first 6 months, get you learning what you need to learn, get you, out there and starting to make progress in your real estate investing business.
Yep.
There's just nothing better.
And if you're wondering what's in that coaching, Gavin has been on the Renatus J.A.M. and talked about it extensively. He did a great job, I think, articulating what typically gets talked about, what kinds of questions he's going to ask you, and what kinds of questions you should be bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Because that's important. You want to have those questions ready to go. You don't want to waste a session on just, okay, I'll come back and get these questions.
Right.
So we've go back and find that podcast with Gavin. It was phenomenal. So
I forgot there is one more caveat.
Yeah.
To the 6 months of the Renatus iOS and the 6 months of unlimited coaching.
And what's that?
It's got to be on cash orders.
Oh yeah, billing orders don't count.
Yeah, billing orders don't qualify for it. Because it is a hard cost to the company, it's something that we've got to...
Yeah. So now I'm asking this question for real. I don't know the answer. We've never talked about it, but I would assume a cash conversion will get it. So in other words,
if they do it in that first
21, it's really... So, and there's a confusion between 21 or 28 days. It's 21 days after the order completes the 7-day right of rescission period.
Correct.
So, as long as you're cash converting in those 21 days after the order completed, then yes, you're saying it still counts as cash.
So, any essentials order, any profits order that gets put in before May 1st will in and of itself have complimentary lifetime attached.
Right.
Any essentials profits not combined with the extreme after May 1st will not.
Okay.
Did I say that clear enough for everybody on the line? I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you.
So, in other words, you best get after it.
That's right.
I look at my watch; it doesn't tell me what the date is.
Your watch doesn't tell you what the date is?
It just says the time. Well, no, it doesn't. It says how many steps I've taken today. That's what it does. I don't care what the date is.
Well, you should. I mean, we kind of crossed a milestone date this week. If you didn't know, April 15th and all here in the U.S. It means something.
Yes, it does. Well, only if you pay taxes. I don't pay taxes. So.
He pays taxes. He's just joking.
That is absolutely a joke. I pay taxes and I grumble about it just like everybody else. So, yeah.
I like it. Lloyd Leftridge left a comment on here and said, generous general.
Oh, for sure.
Boom, baby.
Yes.
Speaking of the generous general.
Yep.
We have a special opportunity today.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. In fact, I think it's been a little while since he's actually been on the J.A.M with us.
Major guest.
The biggest guest we've ever had.
Yes.
Our favorite guest we've ever had. In fact, I think you've probably been our most recurring guest on the J.A.M.
I think so.
Because I think this is probably the fourth time
I was thinking it was number 4.
Is this the fourth time?
My goodness, the marks of distinction just keep rolling in, don't they?
He's incredible, but still puts his pants on one leg at a time.
I tell you what, I love being able to introduce Bob to the community at large, whether it's Renatus, whether it's SNYDER, whether it's somebody that we just met. I love being able to sing his praises because I want people to understand, not to think that Bob is somehow just, better than anyone else, but I want them to know that Bob is the most focused individual I have ever met, who focuses truly on empowering the people around him by offering them tools and education and giving them a process that will empower them to go out there and create the future they've always wanted. In fact, you and I have been together for 13 years now, and I love watching you get excited when somebody else goes out there and just crushes it.
I do, man. That's what gets me fired up, keeps me going in this game.
Yeah, can confirm.
Yeah,
he gets really,
that's what it is, man.
It's
I love to see individuals striving for excellence. Like, for instance, that whole idea of one leg at a time when you put your pants on is so inefficient.
Yeah, you got to jump into
inefficient.
them. Two
what?
legs.
You just sit on a chair, man, and then both legs come up, and then you pop up. Boom, you got it done.
Yes, okay, there you
One
go.
leg at a time is very inefficient. I just wanted to make mention of that because I think that example has been overused, and it's been teaching individuals kind of, the slow path
incorrect
to getting
principles.
ready in the morning. I mean, think about what you could do with that extra 2.3 seconds every single day to help move your purpose along.
It piles up.
Even when it comes to getting dressed in the morning, he is focused on empowering us.
Look at that. Look at that.
Boom. That's right. So, Mr. SNYDER, we obviously love hanging out with you and chatting and all the fun things, but I would really love for our audience at large to hear a little bit from you as to why you created SNYDER and why now.
Oh, you know what? It's all about expanding our reach. I mean, that's the bottom line, is that we have worked diligently for the last 13 years to continue to expand our reach across the United States with Renatus, to be able to enlarge our footprint and enlarge our influence and the difference we make in people's lives. The challenge is that a lot of our content kind of confines us. It's not like we can take it into Germany or into Singapore or into the Philippines or into Australia or into different countries because real estate laws change, taxing structures and regulations are different. So what we really wanted to do was create an international opportunity to take so many of the standards and the philosophies that we know and love and embrace inside of Renatus, only take those out into the world in a way that would really empower people to become their very best selves.
Yeah. I love that. And I love, because I know that we found the shortcoming in being able to take Renatus internationally. And we let me ask you this question, because you first announced Saladio when?
Oh my goodness. The first time we announced Saladio was at the 2020 National Conference.
Oh,
and at that time, we really wanted to roll it out.
Yep.
But that little thing called COVID came along and kind of crushed that idea, so we put everything on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the blessing of that, of getting it put on hold?
You know what? Everything happens for a reason, right? I mean, it really does. And the reason why we couldn't roll it out at that time was because it wasn't ready. We didn't really know that it wasn't ready.
No, we didn't.
But we found out that it wasn't ready. And over the next few years, it gave us an opportunity to really think through what in our curriculum makes the biggest impact, makes the biggest difference to the largest group of individuals.
Yeah.
And here's what was so funny. I mean, even up until last year, I'm still trying to figure out how to take, our classes. We identified 31 different classes in Renatus that we believed would be borderless and we could take around the world. They would all be fantastic information to teach and train people. But sometimes what's right in front of you doesn't become the center of your attention until you have a reassociation.
Yeah.
And that's what happened for me, is that, we had a reassociation as to what really would have universal appeal, what would make the biggest, fastest impact in people's lives, and then what would enlarge our footprint around the world, not just around the country, so that we could gather folks to then introduce them to the other concepts and principles that we teach in Renatus.
Yeah.
It's the best 1-2 punch combination I've ever seen in the industry. I mean, imagine having an incredible product like Drive, being able to take that around the world, being able to really shed light on how people interact with one another, how they can use it for sales, how they can use it for business, how they can use it in their family, how they can use it, to help themselves, self-improvement. Because the first relationship you really got to get right is the one with yourself. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So when we help them in that regard, then it makes it very easy for us to transition into saying, you know what, there's some ways that we've made money, there's some ways that we've helped secure our family's future that we'd love to get you better acquainted with. And that's Renatus.
Yeah. That's awesome. So then Drive is designed, Saladio is designed to go international.
Everywhere. Everywhere you want to be.
Everywhere we want. That's funny. So the current format is that everything is in English.
Everything is. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the English side of things is because when you take a look at building and growing a company internationally, you can't say, all right, there are 140 different countries that we want to go into. In those countries, there's going to be, 100 different languages and 300 different dialects and, and this nuance and that nuance. And we need to be totally prepared and have all of our curriculum developed in every single one of them. Mm-hmm. That would be wonderful, but totally and completely impractical, especially when you're building an economic model to build and then, sustain growth over time.
Yeah.
You find yourself way upside down. And I am a big believer when it comes to launching a company. I don't go out and raise capital. I don't go out and find lenders. I bootstrap the whole thing and self-fund. Yeah. So I want to make sure that we do it right. I have a philosophy, and that is this. If we build it in English, we promote it in English, we go out and sell it in English, we're going to find that then those English speakers in other countries are going to start introducing it to some of the native speakers. Mm-hmm. And when I've got 500 people that pop up and say, hey man, we're in Frankfurt, Germany, and we really want to do this and we're going to crank this thing out. Yes. Well, then it makes it easy for us to identify that country as something of priority so that we can go in and do all the translation, transcription, and prepare all of the information in Drive, in German. If all of a sudden, we have individuals in Singapore, and they are clamoring for our information, or in some other country, well, then we're going to take that serious and elevate those priorities to the top of the list to make sure that we can translate, transcribe, and prepare everything for their native tongue.
So to coin a phrase from Field of Dreams,
yes,
if you build it, we will come.
That's exactly right.
All right.
Yes, that's exactly right. Not if you build it, they will come. No. If
we
you
will
build
come.
if you build it, we will come, and we'll bring the resources of the company with us so that we can make sure that country is top of the priority list.
So I know. So this might be really interesting because we've had a lot of conversations about this. At the national conference, you had the founders launch.
Yes, we did.
Yes. And now we are in pre-launch.
Yes.
What's the difference between the founders launch and pre-launch and then launch?
Oh, that's a great question, Jay. Here's what happens with every single company. I mean, you're always going to come out of the gate, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you test it, you refine it, you make it work. You're going to go through a learning curve just with the launch, right?
Yes.
You're going to make adjustments. You're going to make changes along the way. You're going to find that your software, no matter how much you test it and work with it, is going to need some adjustments and some changes and enhancements. And it's going to have some broken code you just got to go in and take care of. So the founders launch is for us in Soladio to go to us in Renatus.
Yes.
Right? And be able to extend the opportunity for everybody to join us in this new opportunity. In doing so, we created a Founders Club. Those folks who came and attended the national conference and also wanted to enroll as a Soladio IBO became founding independent business owners in Soladio. And we launched it to the founders. Why? Well, because we wanted to give them first movers advantage, but we also wanted to be able to roll it out to a group of folks that already know us, love us, and are going to give us some grace because we knew we would need it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? With any kind of a launch. From the founders launch, we immediately started moving forward into transitioning other individuals that have been associated with us in Renatus who would also like to participate with us in Soladio. And during that transition period, we're still working out the bugs. We're still trying to figure some things out. Mm-hmm. But in the process of doing it, we were able to refine our systems and our marketing message. Well, now that we've really kind of moved through the founders launch, we've gotten into the transition, and we'll still be in transition for a while, but a lot of the heavy lifting is already done, right? Yeah. We need to get into the business of promotion because our systems, our tools, our software, our virtual office are all working. And while we still have a little bug here and there that surfaces we find out about, we'll take care of it. But everything is functional. We can go out there with confidence and start, handing out free assessments. We can start having conversations through the predictive texting string. We can use the app. We can sign people up. We can enroll people in subscriptions. We can enroll people as IBOs. We can get stuff done.
Yep.
Now we move from transition to promotion, and through the rest of the pre-launch period of time, we are heavily focused on promotion so that by the time we launch this thing on July 9th, which not only is my birthday, but it's also the birthday of Drive.
Yes, it is.
Coincidence?
I think not. I think not. It is not coincidence. When Woody and I sat down the first time and he says, Bob, you're never going to believe this, but your birthday is actually the birthday of Drive. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, crazy. The stars aligned, the heavens came together and angels started to sing. That should have been the sign I was looking for when it came to an international product, right? But all of that. So by the time we hit the ground running, on July 9th, man, we've got this thing dialed in, and we've got a well-oiled machine that is going to just march forward with force.
Yes. We've already seen massive improvement in the virtual office, in everything. Yeah. The best part, my favorite part, is that we've seen commissions going out.
Oh yeah,
and that's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
so much fun
without issue that I'm aware of.
So the commissions have been rock solid.
That's huge. So but we talked about I know you've mentioned done beats perfect. We've learned some lessons over time in history where we really wanted something to be perfect, and it takes it
does take way too long, and that's the reason why we were so fortunate inside of Soladio to be able to go out to the founders launch and then to a transitional strategy for individuals who know us. They've got history with us.
Yes.
If things are a little bit askew, they're going to go, all right, you know what, this is frustrating for the moment. These guys are going to figure it out. They're going to get it fixed, and we're going to be just fine. It's not like going out to the general public you have no history with.
Right.
No experience with, because they look at it as a huge fail. And all we have to do is just remind them of so many of the huge fails that have been been out there. I mean, I don't care whether or not it was a Microsoft release or where Steve Jobs used to stand on stage and do things. Elon Musk broke the unbreakable window.
I know. That was the example I was thinking of in my head.
There are things that just happen, and what you really strive for in a moment like that is grace and forgiveness, because people have got to have the confidence that, you're going to work your way through it and things are going to be just fine.
And I saw my first Cybertruck just like probably about 2 weeks ago. Out on the road in the wild. It was incredible.
In the wild. It looks like it should be in the wild and stay in the wild. Now, I've got to tell you, it may be as time rolls on, because you know what familiarity does. I mean, it has an interesting impact.
Oh, for sure.
It may be that over time, as I see more of them and they become more familiar, that I will actually find them to be more desirable.
Yeah.
But out of the gate, all I can say is it's probably pretty cool on the inside.
Is that the automotive essence of saying she's got a great personality?
Well, I think about like with cars, this happens, at least to me. To me, new cars come out all the time, and I'm like, oh, I do not like that.
Yeah.
And then after about 2 or 3 years, I'm going, man, that's a good-looking truck. I want to get one, whatever it is.
I still, and I know this will be a controversial opinion, so I apologize if there are any Outkast fans on the line, but I still cannot listen to the song Hey Ya by Outkast.
Because tell the story.
It's just not a good song.
But how did it come to be? There's a story there.
So here's what Outkast did. Not Outkast, but the promotion company that Outkast worked with.
Right.
They knew that the song was not performing the way that they wanted to. So what they did is they got a hold of radio stations and they said, here's what we want you to do. We want you to play Outkast as a second in a set of 3 songs. We want you to sandwich it with 2 other popular songs right now. And so they did. They called all of these radio broadcast stations all over the place. They put that song in the middle, and because it was in the middle of 2 great songs, everybody assumed it was the third. And so it just became popular. But I'm telling you, if you just listen to the song, nobody likes that song.
It's genius marketing, and I love it. And also really interesting psychology. For people to like. But familiarity makes you end up liking things.
Oh, it absolutely does. And here's the other thing too is I was in Chicago and we talked a little bit about marketing and some of the things that they're doing out there. I recommended that they go on and watch a TED Talk, and I'm all of a sudden going, what is the name of that TED Talk? But it's basically talking about the first follower.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's talking about the first follower and then what happens with the second follower and what happens when somebody is out there just, leading away and people are making fun of them, people are ignoring them, people are annoyed by them. And this guy in this TED Talk, it shows a video of an individual that is dancing in a field at a concert. He's up on a hill, kind of a grassy, weedy slope, and he is
grassy knoll.
Yes, he is just dancing to his little heart's content. He is so free and independent. He's got to be a director. And as he's going through this routine, people are looking at him funny, and other folks are kind of watching him, and you can tell whoever's videoing him on a cell phone is mesmerized by the craziness of this guy.
Oh yeah.
And then what happens is that in time, he gets his first follower. And his first follower jumps on board, and he's like up there doing crazy dancing too, during this concert. And other people are starting to go, actually, that kind of does look fun. And then he gets his third follower. And then pretty quickly, the time between followers starts to collapse. Boom, 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 boom. To where inside of just seconds, he's got dozens of people that have jumped up and are all doing crazy dancing on the side of this hill. And it just shows you what happens. Sometimes you might be a lone dancer. Sometimes individuals might be going, you know what, that's a nice program. I hope you do well with it, right?
Yeah.
But in time, as you stay the course, you're going to get your first, your second, and then the momentum in your organization will start to grow as the validity of what we offer becomes self-evident and is socially validated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's anyway. I know you were looking for it on here.
I found it.
What is it called?
It's called How to Start a Movement by Derek Sievers. and it's only like 2.5 minutes long.
You've got to go online. Just go on YouTube and look it up.
I can do. I can actually put the link in the chat.
Oh, put the link in the chat. Yeah, you've got to watch this because you're going to want to use it for trainings. You're going to want to use it for motivation. You're really going to enjoy some time with this thing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I was more than a little tempted to try to reenact this at the national conference with you. And I thought, oh, that would be so funny because he demonstrates the power of the first follower. And the first follower is what really edifies and validates what the leader is trying to accomplish and gives permission for others to then follow as well.
Yeah.
And in doing that, it, like you said, the movement just snowballs. But it literally is only like 2.5 minutes long.
The first time I saw that video, it was probably a decade or more ago. It was before anybody put it into a TED Talk, and I got to see, the entirety of the video.
Yep.
And I remember watching that going, this is almost embarrassing for this guy. I mean, I'm embarrassed for him because you could see some of the people and the sneers and the joking and the things that were going on. But when he got his first follower, it really did turn heads, and then the second, and then the third. That's what happens when you're building any kind of a movement, and that's what Saladio and Drive is all about. We are building a movement, and what we're looking for are individuals who catch the beat, and they want to participate in being able to dance the dance and enjoy the benefits that go along with it.
Man, that's powerful, because that's what Saladio is all about. It's about empowering people to go out there and be the change they wish to see in the world. And a lot of times we just need permission. We need somebody to give us that permission to go out there and act a little bit like a nut in order to truly make the biggest impact that we can.
Yep. Well, look at just how quickly we've been able to transition so much of our messaging so that it makes sense, so that it's clear and concise and more impactful. And that's going to just continue to improve as time goes on. We're going to improve our online tools. We're going to improve our videos. We're going to improve our messaging so that it makes your job easier to go out there and talk about Drive and talk about Saladio. And why is this so important? Because I believe that Drive is a game changer for anybody who will take it serious, who will really dive deep into the content. Participate with us in the community over time. Build those meaningful relationships. Get involved with a group that's going somewhere and accomplishing something. Play to win in a big way. And as you do, here's the good news, is that following will come, right? Just like in that video. But then what happens is, as we go through promotion, we now have this whole new community of individuals who we have worked with to teach the two pillars of prosperity that we talk about, which is first one is unlocking your boundless potential. Yep. And as you unlock your boundless potential, wow, you now get to see yourself in a different light. It's almost like relationship training for oneself.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And then number two is that the second pillar goes into, your profitable and beneficial relationships. Well, we know how key that is. I mean, you take a look at the Harvard studies out there. There was a 25-year study that said that of all of the wealthy individuals that were ever studied during this period of time, that they found that the number one contributing factor to whether someone becomes wealthy is who they call my friends. Not just who they hang out with occasionally, but who they call my friends and the influence that they have. Another 85-year study on happiness was all about, what promotes happiness. The number one contributing factor to your happiness, your joy, your purpose, your passion is the folks that you spend the most time with. Relationships are key. So when pillar number one, pillar number two come out, that's all Drive. That's all Drive.
Yep.
But we're going to get to a point where we now have this big community of Drive lovers who are saying, so how are you guys doing this in real estate? Because now we're going to introduce them to pillar 3, 4, and 5, which is, of course, number 3 is all about financial mastery. I want to teach folks how to live beneath their means. You can still live extremely well. I've always lived below my means. It's the reason why I've been able to sustain myself and not ruin my credit and not have to get myself in some difficult situations. Yeah. And that's not to say that, that's always avoidable, but I've been fortunate in that respect. The next one, of course, is winning in business.
Yep.
I am a huge believer in that. As a matter of fact, as a young lad, I figured that one out. As a young lad, I mean, I was going through some nice neighborhoods, or I'd see somebody, in a big old fancy car, and I wouldn't be saying, "Man, where do you work?" I'd be saying, "What business do you own?"
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, number 5, the fifth pillar is creating real estate riches. Well, if they want to learn how financial mastery works, if they want to learn how to win in business, if they want to learn how to create real estate riches, that's all Renatus.
Yeah.
So the two work hand in hand. And now we've got a compensation plan and a lower price point on the front end of our offer that attracts so many more people into this family, this community, that then we can say, hey, here's the great thing about it. Not sure if you're interested or not, but this has worked extremely well for me and for a lot of other individuals. And, you might want to check it out. Why don't you come to this Saturday intensive where we're going to introduce you to the 3 additional pillars of prosperity that you haven't been taught about yet.
Here's what I absolutely love about this design.
Mm-hmm.
You have uncovered, discovered, or defined these 5 pillars of wealth. Mm-hmm. And these are the 5 pillars that you've applied in your life to create wealth. And what you did is you didn't say to yourself, "Ha, they're mine. I have them." Instead, you're like, I've discovered these 5 pillars. You know who else might benefit from this? Everyone. Mm-hmm. And so you go out there and you design not just a product that satisfies all 5 pillars, but you design a product and a comp plan that will benefit people from learning these 5 pillars. It's almost like you are bribing people to get educated, informed, and to become wealthier. I know it's not that way, and I don't intend for that to sound as wrong as it does, but
you sound as wrong as it does. I love that. Right? I don't intend for that to sound as wrong as it
does. Well, you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. I do.
But you've not only taken these 5 pillars, but you're giving people a way that as they're getting educated, they can earn the money to help support themselves while they're learning.
Absolutely. Here's the one thing, just to help that land a little bit differently.
Perfect.
Okay.
See, you're about to hear a demonstration of his brilliance.
There's been an awful lot of research. The intellectual here will certainly appreciate the amount of research that has gone into this topic, because they have measured retention for different learning methods. They said, listen, you know what? If you read a book, you're going to be able to retain this much. If you listen to an audio, you're going to retain this much. If you actually are more of a visual learner or whatever, and you watch a movie or you watch a documentary, you're going to be able to retain more. And they kind of go up the scale of what has the highest retention. Experiential type of events have a higher retention of memory on different things that are being taught than just reading a book or listening to an audio, right?
Okay, yeah.
You know what the number one is? 90% of retention is this: when you learn it to teach it.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
When you learn it to teach it. And see, here's what I love about tying a compensation plan to Drive and tying a compensation plan to Renatus. For our marketers out there, whether there are independent contracted marketers in Renatus or they're independent business owners in Soladio, when they learn it to share it, learn it to teach it, they will absorb more, they will retain more, and they will implement it more seriously into their own life, which means they get a greater result.
Yeah.
There it is. That's awesome. How you've been around Drive for, I know you met Woody like 18 years ago or something like that, but you really started to hang out with him about 12 years ago?
I think it was, man. It's hard to remember exactly when we started down that road. It wasn't hanging out, it was first introduction.
Sorry.
Or first reintroduction, I should say.
Right.
And it was at least 10 years ago, maybe 11. But when I got that first reintroduction, it came from Richard Stock, and I'm really grateful for Richard's persistence.
Yeah.
Because he was like, Bob, you got to give Woody some props, man. I mean, you got to listen to this guy. What he's created is absolute genius. And when I finally got a look at it and I saw what he had created, I agreed wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But being an executive, I really wanted to test it. I needed proof. I needed to know that this was going to work. So what did I do? Well, I got Richard to go out there and test it with a small group of his salespeople, and in 90 days they increased sales by 147%.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the first time. That's the beauty of it. I've been able to see that play out numerous times over the years to help validate the authenticity and validity of Drive.
So you've been around Drive, let's call it 11 years, just for the sake of argument. Mm-hmm. You've been around Drive for 11 years. How often, let's say, yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, how often do you see the effect of Drive in your life now?
Every day. I mean, every single day. It's not like let me think about that.
Yeah.
It's every single day. It's changed the conversation that we have with individuals who also understand Drive. It's so much easier for us, instead of saying, whoa, hold on, man, can we have a do-over? Just say, was that a little external?
Yeah.
Could we examine that? Could we kind of, take a look at that and unpack that a bit? And everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. That's the reason why I say, and Scott Rowe has done an excellent job in simplifying the explanation of Drive. If you haven't heard it, you will, I'm sure, in time. But he really talks about walking through 3 doors. And those 3 doors are these. They are what every relationship, it's kind of 3 different doors that lead you to every relationship in your life. He calls them family, social, and professional. In examining that, I've added a fourth door. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go out there and try to add 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. Let's keep the explanation
as simple as possible.
Simple, but there really is a 4th door that needs to be discussed, because it's not just family, it's not just social, and it's not just professional. When it comes to relationships, right? There's a 4th door, that's self. The Drive system helps us to first and foremost improve the relationship we have with ourself.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then you'll never become internal. Because you need to do for you, by you, what the world and external forces cannot.
Yeah.
And once you have really come to love and accept yourself for who you are, to start to see yourself, becoming the person of your dreams, then, man, you're rock solid. And once you're rock solid in that relationship with yourself, makes it so much easier for you to then enhance, improve, and master the other relationships in your life.
That makes just so much sense. That you have to be comfortable with yourself in order to inspire others to be comfortable with themselves, right? It goes back to that, the leader and the first follower starting a movement. You really have to be comfortable enough with yourself to go out there and try things that are designed to help other people.
Yes.
And I just got to tell you, I know that we all have our quirks and our imperfections. And Mr. Snyder, I've never met anyone more internal than you. Now, I've seen moments of stress and different things, but you tend to either move through them as quickly as possible, or you build bridges over them that quickly as well. It's an honor to get to work with you.
Jay, I feel the same way about you, man. I tell you all that all the time, but it's absolutely true. I am blessed to be able to have these 2 men in my life. Fortunately, Matt, I helped to create.
He's definitely been there since the beginning.
He's been in my life, yes, since his beginning. Yep. That's right. And I am so blessed, man, to be able to work with my son, and I'm so proud of him and the man that he is today. And then Jay, I just,
took us a little longer to find each other.
Well, yeah, but you're just my brother from another mother, and I feel fortunate every single day I get to wake up knowing that I have the opportunity to spend time with you two.
Well, I definitely feel the same way. And
absolutely.
I love what we're building together. I love the focus that we have. I wish I could better communicate that to the individuals that are listening right now, that we truly are focused on empowering people. Mm-hmm. That's what we're driven to do. And we find so much joy, so much success in it. And yes, it's a struggle. Yes, there are disappointments, heartaches, there are mistakes, there are things that happen along the way, but that just makes those opportunities when we hear somebody overcoming a hard thing just that much sweeter, because it makes it all worth it.
Let's talk about that for just a little bit too, because in today's economy and in society as a whole, there's a lot of people that are just kind of butting heads.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conflict, and there's a lot of challenge out there. And what we need to do is we kind of need to move things away from conflict and start to get them in more of a cooperative state. Well, let's discuss the timing behind the release of Drive and what we're doing. How is Drive going to impact the world for some of the challenges that we are currently dealing with? Give me some feedback. Give me some ideas on that.
Well, the way I see Drive is it's the way to speak somebody's language. So I'm sure probably most people have had a conversation with somebody where you're just like, I'm trying to communicate something and you're not getting it. And then the vice versa. And the way I see Drive is when you really understand it, you can communicate and speak their language, and then they can speak yours. It also helps people figure out how do I meet my own needs, like for me, by me, right? Mm-hmm. But I've got to go internal, and how do you do that versus trying to control your external environment,
right?
Which is very difficult if you've ever tried to do that. So.
What it is it's giving you the coping skills. It's giving you the mechanisms and the tools so that you know how to respond instead of react.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well said. I couldn't say it better myself. That was phenomenal.
This is kind of funny because you were with me, I believe. We were going downtown to the Gateway Mall, and this was years ago. It was when you and Lindsay were first married. Before you had kids, so that's the reason why we could actually go out together somewhere.
Yeah, must have been. Yeah,
and we were in that old white BMW 745 Li I had, and I remember coming down and seeing a parking spot, man, and it was traffic was everywhere. And I mean, I saw this parking spot, and I've got my eye on it, and I am going for that thing, man. It's like, all right, we just need to get up a little further as traffic moves along, and I'm going to nab that spot. Mm-hmm. Well, there was another guy, as I got close to that spot, he's over here coming up this way. He's got to make a left-hand turn.
Yeah.
But he puts on his blinker, and I'm like, oh, dude, no, that's my spot.
Yep.
So I rolled right up there, and I rolled into it, and boy, he was mad, And I was thinking to myself, how dare he try to steal my spot?
Yeah.
Well, we started walking along a little bit, and then I saw that guy, and I knew how mad he was, and I thought, okay, man, this is a moment of being internal, and I remember walking over to him and saying, hey, listen, you know what? I saw that spot, I grabbed it, when I saw you put your blinker on, I was already going there. I am so sorry because that looked like I stole your parking spot. I just wanted you to understand that I didn't intend to make to do that, but I wanted you to have the backstory, and I wanted to apologize for how that must have made you feel. And he just melted, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just melted. And in that moment, we had a connection.
Yep.
And thank goodness, I've had something like Drive to help me to understand how to respond rather than react.
Yeah. Oh,
totally. I got to just bring up another experience. And it's funny, it involves vehicles as well. But this one was actually with you and Woody.
Yeah.
And Woody was really the center of this story, but we were out razor running. So we had a couple of Can-Ams, and Woody was just having a blast. I think he made it his absolute goal to cover his entire body 100% with mud. I think that's what he was attempting to do.
Because he went through that massive mud bog. Yeah.
He found this mud puddle. And I wish I had the picture of it right now to pull up.
That was unbelievable.
It was a mud puddle. And he decided, he went through it once. And he had so much fun, he did it again. And then he did it again. And then it became a little bit of a challenge to see how fast can I hit this puddle. Yeah. And so he backs all the way up this hill. And he comes flying down the hill, hits this puddle, big splash. We're, of course, hooting and hollering, having a good time watching this all go down. Well, we weren't alone. There was another group that was not far away, and they had seen someone had parked their camper relatively close, within 30, 40 feet of this huge mud puddle. And the gentleman that was there took offense on behalf of the person who had parked their camper there and came over to give Woody a piece of his mind.
He was speaking what a lot of people would call French, but I don't think that was French.
Didn't sound European to me.
I've never heard the French say those words, but that would be what a lot of people would say he was speaking at the time.
Yeah, he was steamed. He was not happy. So he comes over and he starts really giving Woody the what for. Actually, I think he started
giving it to me, man. I mean, yeah. He did. He was like, look at what you're doing. He just went off. I mean, he just went off. And I thought in that moment, there was a moment where all of a sudden you feel, your blood kind of elevate up and the emotions swell. And I just thought, okay, take a deep breath, take a breath. And I said, and he was carrying on about, you're splashing mud on that guy's trailer. Well, I looked at the trailer and I thought, oh my goodness, you know what? There are a few drops. And I mean, it was just drops.
Right.
That's all it was. But he was going on, and I said, well, let's go take a look at it. We went over to take a look at it, and I said, you are absolutely right. I am sorry. We've acted irresponsibly. We let fun get in the way of common sense, and it completely disarmed him. Yeah. I mean, completely disarmed him.
Yeah.
So then Woody, being Woody, what does he do? He comes over and he goes, hey, what's going on? I says, well, as it turns out, some of the mud puddle, you were going through, splashed this trailer over here. And Woody goes, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. And the guy says, well, you should be, that's disrespectful. And Woody was the same way. He said, you know what? Let's make it right with this guy. Who is this guy? And he says, well, I don't know who it is. We're just camped over here. And I see that over here. And he says, we're going to make it right with him. We're going to get his trailer washed and taken care of for him. And he says, Bob, have you got $100? And I'm thinking to myself, why don't you have $100?
Yeah, Woody.
Yeah. Why don't you have $100? But he's like, no, you got $100. He says, I'll pay you back, and he did. But I gave him $100, and he went over and he put it inside the screen door of the place with a note saying, so sorry. This is to help get your trailer cleaned. Completely disarmed this guy. He wanted a fight so bad, man. He wanted a fight so bad.
Clearly.
And we just took the wind right from under his sails, man. It was like, what is he going to say? What he probably did is wait for us to drive away and then went over and grabbed the $100.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know.
No idea.
But you know what? That's the difference, because you cannot afford, especially in a society that is almost like a powder keg ready to be lit. Allow yourself to react instead of respond. Allow yourself to take a defensive posture when sometimes what we need to do is just disarm the situation.
Yep. I love that. And especially when it comes to any kind of topic that people like to discuss in social environments, people they tend to take strong stances. And then if anybody doesn't agree with me, they get frustrated about it and all of this. But if you come into those situations with a wanting to respond, not react kind of perspective, then you're like, yeah, I'm not going to get offended. You can represent your perspective and that's okay. I can represent my perspective. But the best part is that while this happened, and I've seen you do similar things in the past, that wasn't like a huge surprise to me that you would react that or respond that way, just to use the same kind of language. But what really was amazing was that we were with the 5-star winner circle.
Yeah.
And so there were, 10, 12 of us standing there when this all went down, and every single one of them took note of what you did and have talked about it several times since, about how much that impacted them and how much they learned from that experience, how they too could be internal in that moment.
Yeah.
And I just think, man, the more internal we become, especially in environments where people expect us to be very external, the better example we can be, the better influence for good in the world we become.
When I'm always trying to be the example, but in that moment, I really was just not trying to disclose the fact that I didn't want this guy to beat me up.
Right. I certainly, with the first guy, I was like, oh no, he's coming up and he might throw a punch. I'm a little worried.
I get worried for people who think, never mind, I won't go down there. I love it. I'm trying to land this plane, and Bob's like, let's make it funny.
Land it in the Hudson.
You know what?
Oh, man. That's funny.
That's the beauty of it. And, when you create that top of mind awareness, you show up differently and you avoid so many things. Oh, I got another great story. Listen, here's the thing. Woody pointed me to another video the other day, and I just absolutely loved it because he says your perception becomes your projection.
Yes.
And as I really locked in on that, I thought, oh my goodness, that's good. Watch Woody. He's going to create a whole drive training around this.
Oh, yeah.
Your perception becomes your projection. Meaning this, I had a young, ambitious guy that I was working with years and years ago at a network marketing company. And he was in Boise, Idaho. And I was going up there every single week to, work with this guy to go out and show the business and sign people up and get things rocking and rolling. Mm-hmm. And we were about 6 months into our relationship, and we're driving to an appointment together. And I'll never forget Nathan. He looked over at somebody in another car, and then he said to me, Bob, I've noticed something. He said, I didn't realize how much I've changed, but I must be changing. And I said, well, do tell, man. What are you talking about? And Nate said, I haven't had a fist fight in 6 months. And I said, I haven't had a fist fight since high school. I think like my sophomore year. I got it out of my system. I didn't even need to do it in junior and senior, right? What do you mean in 6 months? And he said, I used to get in 2 to 3 fights a week.
Wow.
2 to 3 fights a week? Every single week?
You've got to be out there looking for it.
Yeah, he says, well, every time I'd pull up next to somebody, they'd give me a look, man. I mean, you know what? I was ready to go do battle. It was ready to correct things.
They gave him a look, and he was personally offended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because his perception became his projection. Yeah. He projected who he was. He projected the energy of his being and his disdain for others. And they then reacted to that as much as he was, projecting in himself what they were feeling about him. 2 to 3 fist fights a week?
Wow.
Was mind-blowing. And he was
really
so proud of himself because he hasn't had a fight in 6 months. I was proud of him too, but at the same time, I was like, I had no idea you were a mess that I had to fix.
Right? That's crazy.
Oh, man. But it goes to prove one of the points that Woody loves to make, mm-hmm. and that is that external begets external and internal begets internal. When you show up internal, man, you inspire, you help other people to make internal choices as well.
Yeah. The reason why Saladio exists and the reason why Drive is the primary product that we are continue to promote and develop is because Drive has had such a profound impact on me. It's had a profound impact on our family. It's had profound impact on our families, our friends, our business, everybody that we've ever exposed it to. And because I've seen the changes that have taken place in people's lives, I now feel as though that has become my purpose. And let me tell you, what passion really is. A lot of times people say, oh, passion, yes. I need to make passion my business, right? Well, only if it makes economic sense.
Right.
But sometimes, it doesn't. And when I take a look at this, I think I have become passionate about the changes that I see in people's lives because of Drive. That passion has become my purpose. And fortunately, there is such a profound need in society today for what we teach and what we do and the tools we offer, that's why it's a movement, a cause that I am excited to be associated with.
Yeah, me too. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, I don't think we should add on to that. I think we should end there because I feel like I don't know how to top that.
It's beautifully said.
It was. And that was profound. But it just highlights the idea that when you are truly in the service of others, you feel that fulfillment. When you're truly focused on empowering people, you feel that joy, you feel that, and it's worth any of the how.
Yeah.
It is.
So.
It is. Well, gentlemen, I am so thrilled to have been with you today. It's not often that I get to be a part of the Renatus J.A.M, but I'm here, man. I'm here.
You are.
Oh, and let me put a plug in too, because we started out this J.A.M talking about Chris Albin coming in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here's really where this originated. I love Steve Nomura, because Steve Nomura is not afraid of saying, I have some suggestions.
Yeah.
And then he puts those suggestions in written form, and we take seriously, what those suggestions are.
Right.
And we took a look at things, and we've made some modifications over the years, because I very much appreciate Steve's, outlook on things. Mm-hmm. But we also talked about creative acquisitions at one point, and it really locked me in on the need that is present in our community today for more specialized knowledge around this topic. So I went to Chris Albin and I said, Chris, here's what we need, man. There are millions and millions of 2.6 to 4% interest loans out there. We really need to drill down and give a more advanced training on how people can get access to those. He says, well, we do that in creative acquisitions. I said, I want creative acquisitions on steroids. I want this to be so advanced, so detailed, that people are given multiple strategies that by the time they walk out of class, they're going to understand without question how to implement these strategies into their real estate business and start, taking on those deals, acquiring better opportunities, and then enjoying the benefits from higher profitability. And Chris goes, well, man, if I'm going to do that, he says, Bob, it's probably going to be a 2 or 3 day course. I says, I don't care if it's a week. I want people to really understand this thing.
Yeah.
He's got it into 2 full days. He's reworking the creative acquisitions class, which is the foundational class in the essentials course.
Yeah.
But what he's going to do on the advanced course, you don't want to miss. I'm telling you right now, man, you don't want to miss it. If you are not involved with the accelerated investor training, if you haven't got your Extreme Plus package, now's the time to get it so you can get access to that information, so you can view it live stream, or you can be in studio to really work with Chris over those 2 days.
Yeah.
If you have it, then you want to cancel what's on your schedule right now so that you make sure that you are paying attention, because what Chris is going to offer is kind of the golden ticket for you to go out there and take advantage of so many incredible deals that are in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
And deals that will be forthcoming with interest rates that are so reasonable that when you implement creative acquisition strategies, it just puts you in a better position to make a profit.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts is that Steve's actually going to be joining us in studio for these 3 days.
Yeah. He will be. He's
coming in.
And I have no doubt that he's going to bring with him additional suggestions.
Yeah.
Steve's got great ideas. And this is just one more great idea that we've been able to implement, and now we're starting to see the fruit of it. So,
hey, you know what? Can I just pay a little tribute to that guy, too? If you don't know who Steve Nomura is, Steve Nomura was involved with me in my previous company way back to Nouveau Riche days. And he became a student. He came over as an immigrant from Japan. He didn't speak a lick of English. And when he got here, he knew that he needed to do something to take care of his family. He was selling flowers at gas stations on the corner. I mean, he did so many things just to try to put food on the table and take care of his family.
Wow.
But when he got introduced to the idea of real estate, again, our real estate education is not in Japanese, only in English. He sat there with a Japanese to English dictionary, and he went through class after class multiple times. I'm not just talking about 2 or 3. Sometimes it was 7, 8, or 9, or 10 times.
Right.
So that he would understand the concepts. Today, he's got, I think he's up to over 230 buy and holds that he's got now.
Yep. I know that's
230.
Yes.
I am so proud of what he's accomplished, and now he's passed it on to his kids, so they're involved in his real estate business with him. So many people make stupid excuses, and those excuses promote failure.
Yeah.
They're not just the cause. They promote it. And what we've got to do is we've got to rid ourselves of the excuses and instead bolster ourselves with the reason to push beyond the limitations so that we can really achieve.
We need to have you on the J.A.M more often.
I love being on the J.A.M. This is a lot of fun, man. Again, I get to hang out with you guys.
This was fun. And
You guys call this work?
I never called it work. I was just looking for a way to get out of work. I was like, hey, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, man. That's my boy. That's my boy.
You guys are killing me right now. You're killing me. I tell you what, Mr. SNYDER, thank you so much for being on with us. You truly are. Your vision is what we are all now, not just witnessing, but benefiting from every single day. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for Renatus. Thank you for Saladio. Thank you for bringing drive before the masses. Thank you for being who you are and giving us an opportunity to associate and learn from you.
Well, man, thanks for having me on the J.A.M. and for all that you guys do. I couldn't do it without you. I am so glad we're doing this thing together.
Yes, sir. Me too. And for all of you at home, don't forget the reason why Renatus rocks is because of the people like you who are associated with us. Have a great week. We'll be back next Wednesday with another guest on the Renatus J.A.M. Renatus rocks.